Okay. Welcome to another video of the Target Individual. Again, today I am with the kids. Ethan had a test, so I stayed over again. Pam just called me. Alright, she hasn't called me for a couple of hours. She called me, and she gets off the phone with me, and she's like, I tell her, I said, okay, bye. As soon as you get here, she's like, thanks. I'm like, thanks for what? So as soon as she said that, and she hanged up, police siren. Woo! Again. This shit is ridiculous, and they continue to do this, and it's like, yo, come on. Like, seriously? You know, I'm here, right? And again, this is what they do. Use her and use the situation to, for whatever reason, you know, I don't know exactly what they're doing, right? I know exactly what it is that they're doing. So they're not that smart. Like I said, I have figured out this program. And so yesterday, I stayed over because I came early in the morning. You guys have seen that video, because I was told that Ethan had a whole lot of tests to do, and he didn't want to go back to the babysitter to do the test because the babysitter have 2 young children, and they made a lot of noise. So I stayed here yesterday, right? Help him do a little schoolwork and everything like that, right? They only had 1 test, right? And on top of that, Alyssa's work yesterday is about being a word detective and all this stuff. And so whenever I was doing the homework with her or the lesson with her, you know, all this, again, you know, the remote neural monitoring, the surveillance of, you know, electronic devices. So every time I would read the word detective, they started with the sirens and shit like that. Today, my ex called me, and like I said, you know, I figure she has been compromised. You know, like I said, I don't know quite the extent of her being compromised. And please forgive me, I'm in my t-shirts because, I mean my tank top, I mean, because my t-shirt is in the dryer, it's drying. So anyway, so she calls me, my ex calls me today. You know, last night she had, yesterday she had called me earlier. I told her, she's like, I'll call you back. She didn't call back. Call her twice last night. She didn't answer. So I said, okay, fine. So she calls me today now. And again, I can always tell when they're being influenced, right? So, anyway, so she called me today. We were talking for a little bit. And I said to her, you know, explained to her the situation. You know, I talked to her about me and Pam, what have you. And for some reason I got the feeling that, you know, that somehow they get these people, right? And I'm going to tell you the reason why. Pam has a calendar book that she writes, you know, her schedule and stuff in, right? So in there she has my son, my other son, mother's name on there, in there. So I'm like, why do you have the name in your calendar? And she gave me some excuse about how, oh, that's how she remember somebody else's birthday because there's the. But I'm like, first of all, the fact that you're writing my you know, ex birthday in your calendar, okay, is, you know, and knowing this woman doesn't. Trust me, I wouldn't be surprised if she got in contact with Pam because she's done this shit before in the past. You know, getting in touch with my ex, you know, talking shit or what have you, such and such. Because that's the type of person that she is. Okay? Very, you know, she likes drama. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and then, so anyway, so I'm beginning to get that same feeling with Pam. Like, you know, not to say Pam to herself, but I think, you know, what have you. They might have called Pam or talked to Pam, what have you. And, you know, what have you. But again, that's just my conspiratorial thinking. Right? And again, I have every reason to think that way. So, but I'm not 100% positive. But I know, you know, when Pam says certain things or she acts a certain way, you know, it kind of reminds me of her, you know, of my ex Thursday. So anyway, so like I said, so my ex called me today. We were talking, and I'm telling her, you know, because Pam was all down because, you know, it's the holidays, and she's like, oh, my place is a mess, what have you, and such. And I was telling her, like if she think I'm gonna, try to get me here to stay here so that I can clean, right? Because I hate mess. You know what I'm saying? I hate mess. That I'm gonna clean up her house, right? I said, no, I'm not doing it. Now, if she begins the process of cleaning, I will help her. Okay? Instead of her saying, my house is a mess, and then you don't do anything to clean it up, and then you expect me to clean it. That's not going to happen. That is not. I stopped doing that when I realized that it doesn't make any sense, and also because I was constantly in pain, cleaning. I don't mind cleaning after my children, but adults, that's a different story. And when the adults act and behave worse than children in terms of being tidy and being clean, that is something that, I just have to look at. But again, they got the helicopter flying overhead. So anyway, again, so today now, they have been strategically using sirens to target me. And again, this is nothing new because this is a repeated thing that they do. Where, for example, I was here Saturday. I'm walking in the hallway with Pam, and she just like fling herself against the wall like I had a plague or some shit. I come Sunday, I walked in the door, she comes up to me, like, look at me in my face like I'm expected to give her a kiss or a hug, right? So it's the hot and coldness, and again, they are in control of her emotions, because whenever like I said, whenever she's acting nice and there's a siren that goes off, what they do with me, like whoop, all of a sudden her personality just changed. Okay? So I know for a fact that they are using her and emotionally controlling her, not just emotionally, but controlling her actions. And I've told her in the past when we first started dating, I said, you have to be very careful with people you meet. Because I'm in this program, they will send people out there to manipulate you, right? So they can use you against me. Or they can use you to become part of their cult, right? And a lot of it is through frame-ups and stuff like that. So they may accuse you of something. They may try to, for example, use honey traps, whether it be male or female, right? On top of that, the use of STDs, giving you STDs, or giving you an STDs, going to the doctor tell you, oh, nothing's wrong, and you go and you pass that STD to other people. And then they try to come in and try to say, well, it's such, and then they try to use you, right? They try to blackmail you into becoming a snitch for them or part of their cult, right? On top of that, and then they will try to set you up, right? For example, they may set you up to have you robbed, take your wallet, your purse, right? And then try to use that, like ID or whatever they find in your wallet to try to say, well, if you don't follow what we do, we're going to, set you up and place your ID in some crime scene and blah, blah, blah. Right? Again, this is the shit that Mafia do. And we know that the Mafia was in bed with the CIA, NYPD. So we know the corruption that goes on. And it's there. It just has to be uncovered and exposed. And so I'm doing my part to expose this crime that's being committed against targeted individuals. And if they think that they're going to use, my family or significant other, which I don't have, but if they're going to use my exes to try to manipulate me, right? And like I said, I'm not joining your cult. Okay, so get the fuck out of here. All right? I'm not joining your religion, so get the fuck out of here with that also. All right? And it's as simple as that, because was it Sunday when I came back over here? I was at the bus stop. They were targeting me very heavily. And then there was a specific moment that they started targeting me. And this guy came out giving out these those books, the Daily Word, giving it out and stuff like that. And I was like, man, get out of here with that bullshit. I don't want that. Then he turns around and walk away, puts his hand behind his back, and had his palm rested on his back. His hand rested on his back with his palm facing towards me. Again, the palm fixation drill. So again, religious organizations are a part of it. And again, this is a big thing in how they get these people to do what they're doing. Because through religion and their religious belief system, they're able to manipulate them, right? Because they know how religion has indoctrinated the minds of many human beings. And when you look at religion, I always tell people all the time, they always talk about love, peace, understanding, caring, and such. But they act the total opposite. And this is, again, right, another example, another hypocrisy of people who believe in religion. Because they read what's in their holy book, right? And trust me, there's nothing good in there. You may get some advice, you know what I'm saying, but for the most part, 90% of that book is bullshit and it's pure evil. All right. So when they talk about peace, my brother, Jesus love you, right? And I'm like, well, Jesus didn't ask you to love him, right? He asked you to love the Father. But again, the Father is him. So let me rephrase that. But is it in a specific way? In the Bible, Jesus says that in order to follow me and become my disciple, you have to abandon your family, your mother, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your friends, and follow. You have to give up all these things to follow him. On top of that, when they talk about Jesus came to bring peace on earth, it shows you again, they don't read the Bible. Because in the Bible, Jesus said, I have not come to bring peace on earth, but I came with a sword. Right? And the other interpretation, it says, I have not come to bring peace on earth, but I came with a sword and to sow division. Any religious TIs who doubt me on this, go look it up. Go in your Bible. I forgot the specific name of the passages, but it's in there. You can Google it. Jesus said, I did not come to bring peace on earth. So these people are acting in accordance to their Bible. When we talk about acting, meaning the shit that they doing, all this evil shit, all this hypocrisy that's going on in their mind and in their lives, they're doing exactly what the Bible says. But then they're so indoctrinated into thinking that they're doing something right and peaceful and they love everybody and let's embrace everybody. Again, this is how they're conditioned to say one thing, right, and to think and behave in another fashion. Right? So what comes out of their mouth is totally opposite from their behavior. I want you to understand that. Okay? And using religion as that. And the police, right, again, who are the enforcers and who controls these foot soldiers, right, give them information about you. So to give them information about you, and what they'll do, they'll conspire with people, your family members, friends, your loved ones, or have you, or your significant other, or if you break up with that person, they conspire with them in order to harm you. Okay, so understand exactly what I'm saying. So now she called me all of a sudden. She called me twice today already, which is surprising because she never. The past few days, I would say from last week, she has not even called me. I've been calling her at work saying, hey, how your day doing, what have you, such, having general conversation. But today now, she called me twice. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? As soon as she called me, actually my ex called me first. She called me first early in the morning. Then we were talking for a little bit. And then Pam called me afterwards. And then she called me again. And then she just called me again. And after I got off the phone with her, what do I hear? Whoop. Police sirens. Right? And again, showing the manipulation, the surveillance, right? Again, all illegal, right? Because if it was legal, they wouldn't try to hide it in the way in which they're doing it, right? They wouldn't try to mask their targeting. But again, I've been in this program so long and I've studied it. And I was just watching a video by Dr. Amos Wilson, and the video is about the psychology of black people and how our psychology, our self, is created by white supremacists, right? And he talks about learning how they do it, right? The process in which they use. And so during this program, I have been learning exactly how they do it with the use of silent sound spectrum, the illegal microchipping for the purpose of remote neural monitoring. Okay? And this is what they do. And how, as black people, we have to be very careful. Because the use of STDs to try to incorporate it into a control mechanism, just like with syphilis, just as with HIV, right? That they try to have black people, program and condition black people to give it to each other, and then turn around and blame each other and cause division, right? And then trying to control individuals, okay? Control individuals using those mechanisms. You have to understand about white supremacy, right? If you're a black person, there is no limit to which these people would do. No limit in terms of evil to what these people would do to control us as black people. Control our minds, control our life, as black people. Because like I said, white people have never given up the idea of owning and controlling black people. Okay? And those within the CIA, the military, the Department of Defense, who have created weapons to control people using microwave technology. And you can see that what's happening now that Russia's giving them a taste of their own medicine. Okay? Attacking their agents using microwave technology, microwave frequencies and radio frequencies to cause psychological trauma and to also cause neurological damage and trauma, right? So, like I said, you have to be very, very careful to understand what's going on, right? And now I know I'm a bigger threat to them now because of the knowledge that I've obtained, the knowledge that they try to deter me from learning, they try to pull me away, right? Because if you're a black person and you start reading Dr. John Henry Clark, you start reading Ivan Van Sertima, you start reading Dr. Joseph Ben Yakiman, you start reading Dr. Amos Wilson, you start reading Dr. Asa Hilliard, you start reading what's the other Dr. Charles Finch, right? You start reading Dr. Frances Cress Wilson, right? And Dr. Barbara, I forgot her name, but these black scholars, psychologists, Egyptologists, historians, anthropologists. You start reading Sheikh Anta Diop, right? They're watching you. When you purchase these books, they're watching you because these books contain knowledge that they don't want us to have. This is why they have created that war on the black bookstore back in the 90s, 80s, and 90s, and have basically destroyed black bookstores because black bookstores were carrying these books. These are our scholars, right? Some of them who are now our ancestors, who have done painstaking work to give us the true version of our history, right? And the U.S. government with the CIA and the FBI, they have destroyed, right? They have most of our scholars who wrote these things, they didn't get these multi-million-dollar publishing rights that these white historians get for spreading lies. Okay? So a lot of them have to use their own money to print their own book in limited volumes. This is what they've done. And we as black people following this bullshit and participating in this bullshit don't understand the grave danger that we put not just us, but our children. And when our children grow up, do we want, and if they're scared, say, well, white people have you're right, yeah, white people have a lot of technology, what have you, and this is one of the reasons why they steer black people away from the sciences, right? Such as computer science, or biological science, hold on a second, and other, biological science and all this stuff, right? They push black people away from the technology field. When I told my son, my elders, I said, listen, when you go to college, take up computer science. But his mother convinced him to do accounting, right? And I told him, I said, listen, take up computer science. We should be pushing our children into taking up these sort of learning curriculum, computer science, computer engineering, electrical engineering, biological scientists, chemical scientists, the science. We need to push more of our young people into the science and also into the medical practices. We have too many lawyers. We have too many accountants. Push your children into the science so that way they understand and they can develop the technology to combat what white people have done and have created to control our minds. Okay? This is why when my son was, at an early age, I got him a laptop so he can learn certain things. By the time he was 12, he's building his own computer. My youngest, Ethan, built his own computer at 7. I mean, of course, I supervise, right? Now I don't even have to, look over his shoulder when he wants to install certain things on his computer because he knows how to do it at 11 years old. Okay? These are things that you see white children do on a daily basis. But we too busy buying our children expensive clothes, expensive shoes, Jordan and this and that. And we continue the cycle of consumerism, right? Their minds is the most important thing that we must protect. But we don't understand that. We teach them image is the most important thing. Dressing well and wearing $300. That's what I told my older son. I said I would not buy you $300 pair of shoes. His mother does that. Okay? And use the money to tear him away from me. This is the state of black people, particularly black women, in terms of the materialism, in terms of the, now you see them, I'm chasing the bag, I'm not thinking about no family. Then when they get into their 40s, all of a sudden they saying, shit, I don't have any children because I'm chasing this bag. Now it's too late. Now it's too late. Now they well, I don't care who the baby father is now. I just want to get pregnant. Right? So in their 40s they're having babies, right? Without relationships. Shit that we were doing in our early 20s and stuff like that we have to understand. Like, look, there's nothing wrong with sex, despite what they tell you. Okay? You have to teach your children the truth, tell them the truth, attempt to be careful. Many of us, especially our elders, have not passed on those things to us, right? To our generation. So we have to do it. We have to learn to do it. And with all these STDs out there, and again, not understanding the war on black people, they will use everything from STD to drugs to alcohol. We know this. We know this, right? They use all these things as a weapon against us. And those of you black people who, you got a good job, you getting paid well and this and that, right? All of a sudden, you think you're better than another black person, you look down on them, or if she's not making such and such or whatever, he's not making. Understand the war. They use money. And like I said, I am not sacrificing my love for my people over money. I'm not sacrificing myself and my integrity over money. They know that they can't buy me because they've tried. Okay? Yesterday when I was waiting for yesterday I was waiting for the bus to come over here. And again, you see this guy comes, stands up a little bit behind me because I'm looking at the bus. He takes out, some money in his hand, started counting in front of me. They do this shit in time to time because they think that because, they're denying me or they have taken away, me getting on employment, which I can't anyway because I'm on disability for my back. So I can't really sit down, for 8 hours, right? And again, it's to take away those type of things to try to control you. To take away, if you don't follow what they want you to do, they take away your family, your husband, your wife, what have you. Recently Dr. Boardring says, he's like, the white man is the devil. He will take away your woman. He will take away your job. He will take away your business. He will take away, everything from you to destroy you. If he cannot program you or condition you to be an agent of white supremacy, right? And a gatekeeper of white supremacy. And it's the truth. But many people don't understand. And so the reason why, I'm not saying that's the reason why a lot of people are in this program, but this is one of the programs that they'll put somebody in who they can't control. Right? And I'm telling you, you can see it. Every time a black person of prominence come to the realization that this is what we need to do, I need to focus on championing the rights of black people, they're destroyed. And you can't deny it because you can go and look it up. So understanding that we have to deal with that reality, okay? And then, I always say, black people are the original targeted individuals, which is absolutely true. They've tried to poison us. They've tried to sterilize us, right? They've given us diseases. They've tried to give us cancer. They've used chemical agents, right? spraying chemical agents over the uh, public housing building in St. Louis to see the effect of I forgot the name of the chemical, right? Who they do this to? Black people. So again, when we as black people want to act as if these things don't exist, the reason why we act like that because we've been programmed that way. We've been programmed to not see these things and to not take it seriously. So when I talk to Pam about the stuff that affecting black people, she get turned off. She's like, I have no time. I don't want to talk about this. This is, I don't want to deal with this. And the way she acts very frantically shows me how much she's been conditioned. Right? Same thing with my family. My sister told my niece's son that in front of me that there's no such thing as racism. This is a black woman telling a young black man, young black teenager at the time, that there is no such thing as racism. Now, how many of our people are telling our children this shit? Like I said, everything I talk about, I speak from life experience, from what I've experienced, all right? Or from what other people have spoken of. I'm not making shit up. When I talk about directed energy, I've been doing this shit for how many years now? Talking about microwave frequencies being used to control our minds. And look what's happening right now, right? Over the past couple of years, right? And the U.S. trying to deny it. When, in fact, on their own CIA website, you can find proof that the Russians were using the same technology on their ass at the American Embassy in 1968 for 10 years to 1978, right? And so they also have been developing. Even in the early 60s, you look at Dr. Jose Delgado. Read his book. He says in his book, this is in 1968, he talks about being able soon to control people without the use of implants, right? Using radio frequency. But they want to act as if this shit is new. This shit is not new. This shit goes back to the 1930s with radar. You gotta do some deep research and to understand this shit. But many people don't want to hear. Our people, black people, don't want to hear it. I'm not talking about other TIs who are white. Listen, I'm talking about black people right now. When I talk about other TI stuff, it's everybody in general, right? But we have to understand that as black people, we are the most severe, we are the most disfranchised people in America and the world, because white supremacy have taught the world to hate black people, right? So we are the most experimented on, the most disenfranchised, the most miseducated, right? The most demonized, whether it be sexually, intelligent-wise, all this stuff. Why? Because a group of people hate us for who we are, because they know that we are the ones that created them. They know that everything that they got is because of us, whether it be through stolen knowledge, whether it be knowledge shared, stolen knowledge, right? And then they cover it up, deny us from having access to it. And when we do have access to it, what do? They whitewash it. In Egypt right now, they're repainting all of the Medu Neter, right? The hieroglyphics, repainting them white or lighter. This is how far groups of people will go to deny black people our true history. And we don't understand that. We're not upset about that. When they're digging up mummies, can you go to England and dig up their ancient burial sites? Can we go to America and dig up George Washington and Thomas Edison or whoever? Can we do that? No, we can't. Okay? They have our ancestors displayed in fucking museums. Right? You do that shit to their ancestors and see they'll fight you. They'll go to war with you. Okay? So understand again the disrespect that we as black people have when we give the world everything they have gotten. Okay? We invented shit that they can't even understand right now. That they're trying to reproduce. And they can't. And so now they want to collect our DNA. Why? Because our DNA has encoded information from our ancestors. Black women are experimented the most. Because why? Black women have more information in the genetic coding than any other group of women. That's why black women are the most experimented. Right? But you have black women participating in this shit too. Big time. Because again, they do not understand who they are. The mindset that black people have today is one that's created. It is a false African consciousness, according to Dr. Amos Wilson. And I agree. And if you ever read Friend's Phantom book, Black Skin, White Mask, you'll understand too. So our black scholars, our black psychologists have done the work. We just need to read it. All right? So with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.